Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back to the Secret of Monkey Island 2. So we've seen the game, we've seen its weird, controversial cliffhanger ending that never fully gets addressed. It is just kind of called all of a spell, all of a dream in Monkey Island 3, which wasn't made by Ron Gilbert. And then we did the speed run without using the hint system or the object highlighting, which in total gave us 5 achievements, so I have all of the achievements. Now I just want the developer's commentary. I found out that on an Xbox controller, the right bump will trigger the developer's commentary. So this is going to be an interesting... We're going to take our time to listen to Ron Gilbert and Tim Schafer and possibly other creators of the game talk about the game, and then in between the conversations I'm just going to try to kind of speed run it and see if I can see everything. So let's begin. So
Well, Guybrush Threepwood, you do turn up in the strangest
you may
places.
notice that the audio is louder
hi,
now.
Elaine.
I turned it up
Do you think you can help me out?
How'd you get into
The
this
developer's
mess?
commentary is
kind of a long story.
kind of soft.
That's okay.
And connected
I've got time.
directly to the voice sound effects of the characters.
It all started on Scab Island. Some of my admiring fans had pressured me into telling my LeChuck's
So
evaporating
this might be a
story
little
once
too
again.
loud, sorry if it is.
Deep in the Caribbean.
I won't be
Scab
skipping
Island.
anything unless I see a real reason to.
My name's Ron Gilbert, and I did pretty much everything on this game. I did all the art, the music, programming, and the writing.
So you have these
I'm Dave
silhouettes.
Grossman. I helped Ron do everything on this game.
But you don't know
helped design
who
puzzles and wrote
who
like,
represents whom in
program
that
things and made
silhouettes.
people walk around
And the image is zoomed in.
My name's Tim Schafer. I helped get coffee for these guys, and then at night I redid everything that they did. And I was an assistant designer.
Now,
programmer.
Tim Schafer is
That was
the person who runs Double Fine right
We
now.
helped with puzzles, and then wrote
Ron
dialogue,
Gilbert
and then
is
programmed.
in charge of a different company.
I used to program.
I don't know if David...
I still program.
Ooh, what's happening?
what was that sound?
Oh my god, the game's starting. What an awesome game.
Scab Island.
Well, I didn't know that before.
So it
now I'm trying
comments...
to chart.
My name's Ron Gilbert.
But if
and
you
I
just
did
hit
pretty
this
much
again,
everything in
it
this game. I did
will
all
just
the
bring
art,
the same
music,
commentary
programming,
again.
and the writing.
So you can either
I'm
listen
Dave
to
Grossman.
the commentary or wait for the cutscene to end. So we'll probably have a decent
Those
amount
guys wouldn't know a good
of-
story even if they paid $50 for it. When I
of
find Big Whoop, I'll become a
starting
legend among
developer
pirates for
commentary
generations to come.
that
can only
we've already
charter a ship
heard
and
and
get
then
off
hitting
this
B
stinking
to
island.
cancel it. Just because you don't... It doesn't take off the commentary, and it's not something as simple as just turn it on and let us hear it throughout the entire game when we walk into a new scene or trigger a new event. Frankly, developer commentary makes a lot more sense in movies where you just are passively
Oh, we're going into Wood Tick. Don't go on that bridge. This
passively
don't.
playing the game. So he's reacting like I moved this
because
way.
the player always feels like they've done something wrong.
Right, without knowing it.
Yeah. People like. would
So I
actually
walked to the
go
left
back and
just to speed
play
up
the
that
game
scene.
to try and not get caught by him on the bridge.
Yeah, Largo LeGrand is named after where I grew up.
Largo? Key Largo?
No, I grew up in LeGrand, Oregon. So that's where I got his name.
Where'd the Largo come from?
I don't know.
That's what
Probably
they used to
just the
call
way
him
it
back then.
sounded.
They used to call him
That was his
Largo.
nickname. Hey, Largo.
Hey, Largo.
Largo from LeGrand.
Is that Bogart? Key Largo?
I always liked how he started out with a whole bunch of money. So you kind of thought he had a bunch of stuff, and then it all like completely goes away at the very beginning of the game.
Yeah, that fit into the running theme of mean, cruel things that we enjoyed. Give the player a bunch of money and then take it away
And then
from
just
them.
take it all away from them immediately. Yeah.
I just want to say how good looking Guybrush's hair is looking in this game.
He has a new stylist in this game.
So they're talking about the original,
think his
the
eyes are in there.
remastered
Okay.
version.
The
We
money
can watch
thing,
the original version and
inspired
still
by
hear
just
the
how-
dialogue.
How much time you spent in the first game having to get money. Like it was a really big thing. Like, oh, you didn't have any money and you had to go to the circus and get a job and all that. And it's
Right.
like,
And
this
that-
time
that-
let's start them off
right.
with tons of money.
More money than they know what to do, and then we're gonna take it all away.
I think I broke the sign.
So Now, what's interesting is the commentary here is broken up, so there's actually a second commentary right
Okay,
now.
here is the big premiere of iMuse. Right?
Yes.
This is the biggest, and I think the biggest ever, most complicated piece of iMuse music.
Interesting, the
that was ever
mouse
We
goes
had
away
like two
behind
like
this
full-time
border.
programmers who are doing nothing but programming the iMuse transitions.
Because like it's a main theme outside, and then every time you go into one of these inner locations or inside the house, it would enable or disable instruments, and it would
Right.
change the theme a little bit.
Right. Yeah, no, iMuse was like absolutely amazing.
But they put a lot of work into it, and they decided never to do it again because they're like, no one noticed.
I didn't know.
I noticed.
I did.
Like, so listening to this music, when I walk in here, they're saying some instrument in this MIDI file will stop playing. Well, it's a completely different song in here. And there's no hint in this side. Now, of course, walking back out,
Okay, here is the big premiere of
it's
iMuse.
this again. So we don't need that. So let's go into each area right now and get the dialogue, if there is any
I love Wally
dialogue.
the cartographer.
Wally has just been taken so much abuse over the course of the series. It just seems to be.
Well, you know, we
Asking
cut
for it.
that stuff at the end of the game with, you know, him on the raft and all that.
Oh, that's right. We cut the whole raft thing.
I get a lot of email from people wanting to know what we were going to do with Wally and that whole.
Do we ever show what happens to
section.
him now? Because when you blow up out of the, you know, the whatchamacallit, you blow up out of the, and then you used to land on a raft. I guess we'll find out.
I don't remember.
That's a good voice for him. Whoa. Could you guys hear my internal
See, now we
organs?
steal his monocle.
Yeah, we steal his monocle. It's super
blind.
sad. Yeah, we totally make him unable to do his job, but because we needed a lens for our
Exactly.
little.
Yep. Gotta ruin everyone in this town before we're done.
I'm such a dope.
I love Wally the.
Same commentary.
I do anything
twice
right?
in a row. Now, Wally must have played a bigger part in the third or fourth games, because I don't recall him in the first game, and he didn't really play too much of a part. He's maybe the third or fourth, maybe fifth most important character in the game, but that's not really saying much.
Nice.
There's actually kind of a small amount of interactions here. And there's no commentary here,
It's just a bucket.
so we can just go and
Hey,
grab
leave
this.
that alone.
Sorry, is this your bucket?
Well, no.
So you won't mind if I take it?
I guess not.
And same
Okay, here
commentary.
is the
again.
big.
So we're gonna have a lot of that happen as we start traveling further and further. And no commentary here. See, what's interesting to wonder here is who was playing the game while they're commenting. Like, is it some secondary intern playing the game all the way through, or is it one of them? I would assume it would have to be some intern that remembered how to play, because Ron Gilbert and Tim Schafer and all of them are just going to be, frankly, too old, and it was such a long time that they're not going to remember how to play this and all the solutions.
Hey, how'd old Pegbiter get loose? I'd better go catch him before he catches somebody
There's
else.
another character kind of underused.
Cheese squigglies. One of my favorites.
Open this door and grab the toupee while we're over here. Now, I'm not
Nice.
actually trying to succeed at the fastest pace ever, and I may still end up using object highlighting or hints if I have actually managed to forget how to beat this game, which is possible because it has been about a day or two since I last played it, and I could see forgetting a couple of things. It's a convoluted game, certainly. I wouldn't say it's particularly complicated, though. Let's see. Now we need to talk to the barkeep and get the spit.
Excuse me.
No commentary in this either.
Grog, please. Shaken, not stirred.
So if there's no commentary,
Maybe you'd
I'll just go ahead
Shirley
and skip.
Temple instead. Of course, if you have some ID.
I must have left my ID in my other pants.
You'll have to do better than that, because the law around here isn't the law at all. It's Largo. You know, I can mix any drink there is.
Skip. Take this.
Yeah.
That. And back this way. So I feel like the developer commentary in particular is not very consistent. You don't hear a lot about music systems in games these days. People always neglect music. Steam has a 3D audio API that they've released recently, so virtual reality audio will make a little bit more sense and work better. But the only other things are kind of simplistic things like Dolby Atmos and 7.1 and DTS and expansions on standards to get surround sound.
Wow.
However,
whole bucket of mud. And it's mine. All mine.
And there's no commentary here. However, it's rather difficult to even hook up or get a sound card that can handle surround sound amplifiers, and games very rarely support them. If your game does support surround sound, it's probably because it was originally designed to work on a console, and the console supports surround sound. As far as programming and recording music, it's kind of uniform these days.
Ash to light, the uncremating cream.
Amongst audio recorders that make audio for soundtracks and audio recorders that make audio for games.
Guybrush Threepwood. It's been a long
so
time
we don't need
since
to
you
sit
last
through
came
here.
to see me.
How's business?
So I'll just
Very
skip
good.
through all of this.
Many hexes this week.
Do I know you from somewhere?
Ah, we often forget those who help us most.
Tell me about this Largo guy.
He's a weak little man who bullies this whole island around.
Why don't you just put a curse on
I'm trying
Largo?
to skip a lot of this,
I've tried.
and the skip button doesn't work.
What kind of ingredients do you need for the doll?
Are you willing to help me make one? Do you have any of those ingredients with you?
I have his toupee
and a spit before we even get there.
Not quite a part of his head, but maybe I can get some scalp fragments from it. Have you brought me any other ingredients?
I have some of his spit.
Excellent. You may keep the paper. Have you brought me any other ingredients?
I'll bring you more later.
Good. Now go.
Now, the problem is going to be if there happens to be one scene somewhere that I just missed in my 2 playthroughs, which is possible. It's possible that somewhere I should have walked left instead of right. I would say maybe in the forest on Dinky Island. If there was some way to walk and find a different area, that wouldn't surprise me too much. But here we are, and we've kind of speed run our way to the through Scab Island, and even the commentators and creators of the game don't have anything to say because it's just this long, or potentially very long, area of wandering around trying to find out what to do and doing it.
This is creepy feeling.
Oh god, I forgot about the graveyard.
This is like the greatest scene ever.
Why are the bats making different sounds here?
Okay, so why
This is another thing we fought over. I thought the pants thing, I didn't think that was funny.
I think the pants
And you
thing
thought it was
is
the best thing in the whole game.
I did, and I still do. I actually use this as an example sometimes when I'm talking
you used to
to
think
people.
was funny and now realize it's not funny.
No, it's like the pinnacle of humor. It's an untoppable moment.
But what did he pull his belt off in order to dig? What? Why does that happen, Ron? Now tell us.
Because the game requires different levels. If you got your sophisticated.
But why do his pants fall down? Did he use his belt to dig? See, that would
See, the problem is you're trying to justify it too much. It's just funny. Just
so.
run with it.
This is probably
about pants falling.
It's just a stupid computer game, Tim.
Oh, see, I think that could have been a really deep moment.
This is probably why they don't work together anymore, right
For
here.
example, Gravity. He was digging up.
Different sentimentalities.
It's hilarious. But I never liked anything that was great. And like I was against the insult sword fighting. Remember, I was like, people are going to be really mad. Well, for the beginning of the meeting, you were like, how about? I think it's too action oriented if we actually put sword fighting in there because it was going to be like karateka, and it's like it's too action oriented. I think people would enjoy it more if it was just insults, which I realize now is a great idea. At the time, I thought we're going to get angry letters from people who want to use their sword. That but I saw the light eventually.
Well, that came from all that time we spent watching those movies in the media room at the main house. Was the way the pirates, verbally jousted with each other.
Yeah, I remember you saying that it was just what they said that was important, and that the sword fighting always seemed like kind of a background activity.
So, honestly, I would take a new Ron Gilbert game like Timbleweed Park, and give it more of a chance than a new Tim Schafer game. Tim Schafer has run Double Fine, and he's greenlit and allowed his company to make a decent collection of games, some of which have proven to be alright, and some of which have been, well, actually, maybe only 2 or 3 of Double Fine's games are just outstandingly good. Whereas I think Ron Gilbert might simply take...
Okay, here is the big...
Take more time to release something, but when he does release something, it is going to be probably better quality and have a Ron Gilbert seal of approval, where I wouldn't really trust a Tim Schafer seal of approval. Tim Schafer has changed a lot over the years, it feels like, too.
It doesn't seem to stay closed. I think I hear Largo.
I think if you go back and watch me cover Broken Age,
what the hell?
particularly, that's a game that should have just been a new version of a point-and-click adventure, and should have been really good. And it just kind of wasn't.
When I get this thing off my head, somebody's gonna be real sorry.
Why am I watching this? I might as well. I should have skipped that.
Maybe I shouldn't have done that. You looked pretty steamed.
Now the funny thing would be is if the ticket was there, but it's not. That wouldn't make much sense. We have to go see the cutscene first. And we're triggering everything.
Okay, here is the big...
But I hope the iMuse trigger stops showing up.
Nice.
You're making me mad, Marty.
That's my name. Don't wear
Let's
it
go and
out.
skip that. And see, the only thing I was gonna do I think I was going to try and get the most amount of money here.
It won't fit in my pocket.
So, let's talk to this guy.
What is it?
Hi.
Do we know you?
Let's see.
I'm Guybrush. You tried to sell me the minutes of a PTA meeting in the last game.
I'm trying to get through this
map.
dialogue so that I can get him to
I don't know
polish
what
his
you're
leg.
talking about.
So we can do that for 19
Why did you wake us up,
times.
Gorbush?
And
what happened to your leg?
And
it
then
happened
get some
during a
extra money.
performance.
That's what we do for a living now.
You see, after our circus failed, we started a pirate catering business on nearby Fat Island.
The sacking lunch. It was quite lucrative.
Why aren't you still doing that?
When he lost the leg, Frank was brilliantly showing the inseparability of the path man walks.
So a lot
from
of
the
dialogue
food
in this
chain.
game.
The symbolism
that
of the cheese was
either
essential.
you have to read
You know,
the original
this leg is
version,
looking sort of dingy.
or-
Would you get some polish over at the Woodsmiths and polish it for me?
Give me money for the polish.
Okay.
See you later.
We can scarcely contain our anticipation.
Yeah, in the original game, would have had to do a lot of.
Okay, here is the big.
A lot of reading, which would have taken a lot of extra time, and made this game a lot longer. Or
no,
now
thanks.
You have to listen to people.
Yeah.
Could I buy some wood polish?
That's 1 piece of 8. Anything else?
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
A woodchuck could chuck no amount of wood since a woodchuck can't chuck wood.
And then when you skip.
I'd just like to browse, thanks.
Skip the woodchuck
Okay,
conversation.
but don't touch anything.
It just skips to the end. When I think there were multiple lines of dialogue that you could have had. So let's walk back out here. I would think
If only I could use this stuff on my lines.
that eventually
Thanks.
You
Here's a
would-
piece of 8 for your trouble.
if this
Thanks.
game had
Here's a
different
piece of 8
endings,
for your
is
trouble.
what I'm trying to say. I would think having the potential maximum amount of gold at
Thanks.
the end
Here's a piece of 8
would
for your
cause
trouble.
it to happen, but it's just not what was
Thanks.
what Ron
Here's a
Gilbert
piece
really
of 8 for
wanted
your
to
trouble.
do, and instead he wanted to leave it on a cliffhanger so he could
Thanks.
get a
Here's a piece of 8 for your trouble.
a trilogy out of this game, and instead technically 5 games were made based off
Thanks.
of
Here's
Monkey
a piece of 8
Island
for your trouble.
as a series, but he only really had a hand in 1 and 2, and
Thanks.
that's why
Here's a piece
if he
of 8
was
for
to
your
ever
trouble.
get the license back, we would see a Secret of Monkey Island 3.
Thanks. Here's a piece
It
of 8 for
probably
your
also
trouble.
explains why Secret of Monkey Island 3 is called Curse of Monkey Island, and then Escape from
Thanks.
Monkey Island.
Here's a piece of 8 for your trouble.
It's not even the best name because we don't even end up on Monkey Island in this game.
Thanks. Here's a piece of 8 for your trouble.
Which is probably a bit of an
Thanks.
oversight.
Here's a piece of 8 for your trouble.
You could have easily had LeChuck's Fortress on Monkey
Thanks.
Island,
Here's a piece of 8 for your trouble.
since that's where his ship was underground, and then
Thanks. Here's a piece of 8 for
while
your trouble.
not even invoking the elements that we saw in the first game, we could have still had that
Thanks.
tie-in.
Here's a piece of 8 for your
But it
trouble.
wouldn't have been a terrible idea, frankly, if they went bigger and bolder and had all the islands from the
Here's
first
a piece
game.
of 8 for
so
your trouble.
Monkey Island and Melee Island. Have them come back. Don't change that much.
Thanks.
And
Here's a
just
piece
have
of 8
them
for your
be
trouble.
these extra places you can explore if you want. You could say that
Thanks.
they were.
Here's a piece of 8 for your trouble.
They were abandoned because of LeChuck returning.
Thanks. Here's a piece of 8 for your trouble.
And see, this is a lot of work to go through just to get 19 pieces
Thanks.
of.
Here's a
8.
piece of 8 for your trouble. Thanks. I'd give you a piece of 8, but I'm fresh out.
And I suppose we could try you could try a different run where you would attempt to have the most amount of items in your inventory. I don't really see a reason for that, though. Anyways, so now we'll start over again on this third run through the game. It says something that you can run through the game 3 times in a row and not be amazingly annoyed because of the developer's commentary. Even though the developer's commentary is very lacking so far. I hope it picks up in the rest of the game. That is a good idea for a lot of games, particularly short games. It's just like throw in the developer's commentary and let that be a reason to play the game yet again and get that extra playthrough. I feel a lot better playing a game twice in a row and getting something new out of it than just playing a game twice in a row because I played it once when it came out and then played it maybe 5 or 10 years later when I've forgotten most of what has happened. But we are only 15% done, so there's still a lot to go. That's it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.